To this now, the Zondo Commission has made some damning findings against SA Express. The airline has been in provisional liquidation for almost 2 years. The Commission found that high-profile Northwest government officials were involved in the demise of the airline. For more on this, I'm joined now by eNCA's Heidi Giokos, who's been reading the report and extrapolating, is the word, the various aspects that are of significance in terms of the various state entities at play there. Heidi, the Northwest government, you don't expect a government, layer of the three spheres of government that we have to be so centrally involved in the demise of a state-owned entity. It just, it's counterintuitive, is it not? You think someone will come from outside and be the person that disrupts everything and sends the airline to its demise. But in this case, the government of the Northwest was integral in all of this.
Yes, certainly. And this all dates back to about 2015 to us, when there was a request to revive the airports in the Northwest and to include and increase the routes from the Northwest. And SA Express was the preferred bidder, or rather it was forced to be the preferred bidder, because it seems as though the Northwest government had about 4 airlines, which included SA Airlink, SA Express and 2 other airlines. And it seems as though SA Express was forced into all of this, but willingly so, because they were part of this deal that would include more routes from Gauteng into the Northwest and vice versa. But what the state capture report finds is that the Northwest provincial government was involved in all of this to try and siphon out money out of the Northwest government into SA Express and then move it into individuals and the ruling party and executives from the Northwest government. And you have names like the former Premier of the Northwest, Supra Mahomapelo, and you also have who was the Acting Director General at the time in the Premier's office, Job Mahoro. And he says he wasn't involved. He says that even though he was the Acting Director General, he should not be accused of signing off deals that clearly had red flags involved there. But this kind of evidence that's being brought forward in the state capture reports and the state capture inquiry saying this was wrong, this was illegal, this was fraud, is something that we also saw with SAA, where deals were being pushed aside and other deals were being pushed forward to benefit certain individuals and enrich certain individuals. And I want us to go back to testimony from Timothy Ngwenya, who was the Divisional Manager, Security Management at SA Express. And he tells the state capture inquiry back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, that this did not make any sense, that SA Express was put in the limelight. SA Express was the preferred bidder and the preferred airline only because it was a state-owned entity, and it was clearly put there strategically to benefit certain individuals.
We're talking about a tripartite relationship here, where there was the Northwest Department of Transport, there was SA Express, there was a Coronega. Now, Coronega was the service provider to both entities.
And the parallels that you draw with the situation at SAA are apt, Heidi, because, in those instances you had people who were like the last line of defense when chips were down. Difficult as the environment was, you knew that if it reaches National Treasury, at least it will get a pair of eyes that will look at it, at least from the position of the officials at National Treasury. If we park the politicians for a moment, you knew that it would get a proper reading and would be scrutinized and questioned, sent back if it's not meant to be signed. The likelihood was that it would not be signed. But in this case, you had someone as senior as the Director General in the Premier's office, that is at the time acting at DG, Job Mahoro. And he's also implicated in all of this.
Yes, he is implicated, but he denies all of this. He was the Acting Director General in the Premier's office, and he was signing off on these deals. So the deals would go onto his desk, and he would have to overlook this and decide whether or not this deal would be beneficial. And this is why he was implicated and asked questions at the state capture inquiry to say, yes, you were the Acting Director General, you might not have been head of procurement, but you were supposed to say, this deal looks very dodgy, let's perhaps relook at this. And why was SA Express the the preferred bidder? Did they meet all procurement? Did they tick all the right boxes? Were they actually the preferred airline, considering the fact that you had 4 airlines on that list? But he says, why should he be blamed for all of this if he was the acting Director General? And I just quickly want to go to where the State Capture report says Professor Mogoro's evidence on the score was entirely unsatisfactory. As the Director General in the Office of the Premier, he was the accounting officer for the Premier's office. And it goes on to say how the buck basically stopped with him, and he should have said, this deal does not look good, we should stop it. And just because it's a government entity does not mean we should be putting money into this just to enrich and benefit certain individuals in the Northwest Provincial Government. Let's listen to some of that testimony.
Who had to authorize that payment? Do you accept that?
I don't, Chair, because there is a contradiction here. I mean, if I'm the accounting officer, why should I be expected to be the one who's overseeing procurement? It doesn't make sense.
All right, Heidi, before I let you go, I know you follow the airline industry, and I know I can throw you a curveball at any moment. SA Express, we are saying, have been in provisional liquidation for almost 2 years. I remember at a time there was talk about, an employee kind of formation that was looking at purchasing the airline. That didn't go anywhere. Do we know where it is now? Because I think it's relevant, is it not, that much of what we see, the state of SA Express at the moment, was accelerated in many ways by some of what we are reporting now.
Certainly, and you have over 600 workers that are without jobs. They have no hope because of the fact that this airline is in provisional liquidation. We've heard the provisional liquidators indicating that if there is no preferred bidder or somebody that comes and says, I will take over what's left of SA Express, which is very little because you had aircraft that had no engines left. The engines were stolen. I don't know how engines are stolen out of an airport where these aircraft were parked. We do know that they are set to be in courts. I think it's next month or if not the month after. But the provisional liquidation extension has been extended numerous times because they don't want it to reach final liquidation. If it reaches final liquidation, it loses all its licenses, and that's not where government would want SA Express to be at. So if there's somebody that's willing and has the money and puts money on the table, then they can take over SA Express. But the reason why that didn't happen previously, because you had almost an employees forum coming together to say, we'll get the money together to buy over SA Express. They unfortunately did not put the money on the table, and this is why it continued to be in provisional liquidation.